Here's something we think is worth your time. The UN Intergovernmental Panel on Climate Change recently released a pretty depressing report. The main takeaway, climate change is killing people, and we're not doing enough to stop it. Yep, that's pretty depressing, all right. It also says that we are not adapting to the new normal fast enough. The report says 3.3 billion people are already highly vulnerable to the impacts of climate change in their daily lives. This includes extreme heat, wildfires, and drought. Isn't that delightful? All things that we've experienced in Oregon and Washington, and that's just in the last couple of years. The panel also warns that even if we reduce global warming, some climate change effects will be irreversible. Well, today we spoke with David Wrathall, who's one of the lead authors of that report. Thanks, David. He's also an associate professor at Oregon State University. He knows what he's talking about. He specializes in climate change-driven migration, which he says is happening more and more as some places on Earth become uninhabitable. We asked him, where does the Pacific Northwest fit into all of this?
All over the United States, different climate hazards are changing people's decisions about where they want to live and where they'd like to live in the future. And so, we're in relatively good shape in the Pacific Northwest. There are other places, regions in the United States that will be much worse off than we are in coming decades, and certainly by the year 2100. But what you're saying is, climate change is happening now. It's already around us. We've already seen these temperature extremes like the heat dome last summer, which is sort of what we'd expect under future climate scenarios, and the forest fires, which are exactly in line with what we would expect. Let's count that as evidence of what the future is going to look like. In the state of Oregon, thousands of people have already been displaced by forest fire and are moving around. They've been displaced. They're looking for a stable mode of residence, a stable way of resuming their lives. So it's not something for some remote, future, some generation in the future that's going to deal with this. It's now, and it's Oregonians.
Yeah, I remember August used to be a great time to take vacation, but now it's a great time to get smoke from a wildfire. I don't know what's going on. Well, I do. He just told us. Now, I know it's all pretty depressing, but Wrathall says there's a different take that you can have on that you might find interesting.
And one way of framing this is that it's bad news, that we're at war with nature, and that's true. But it's also, the metaphor of like we're driving towards a cliff. Is it good news if you're driving towards a cliff if somebody in the passenger seat says you need to step on the brakes now and you need to turn the steering wheel so that you don't go over the edge? I think that is good news. And I think we know exactly what we need to do. We know exactly what's wrong. And we know exactly how fast we need to act.